Okay. Show me.
Hi there guys, welcome back to the Dutch SG channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. And look what I've got. I've got me a very small gadget. It is an ISDT charger, one of their latest charger, I think. And I ordered me this charger, to review it partially, but also to use it. So in this video I'm gonna review this charger, but I'm also gonna tell you whether I'm happy with my purchase and what I'll use it for. One of the questions I always get about chargers is whether you can, for instance, charge a 6S Lipo from a 4S Lipo. So that is definitely one of the things we'll be testing in this video. Let's get started. So a very small charger from ISDT, the Q6 Nano Smart Charger. And it's not only small in size but also in price. As you'll see from the link in the description. Very affordable, especially from a quality brand like ISDT, less than 30 euros. Actually, it's approximately $30. So that's definitely affordable. But for me, the most important thing was the size. See, in this review, I will show and mention this here charger a couple of times. This is currently my field charger. It always lives in my backpack. This is the ToolKit RC M6. Also a very small charger, and why am I, trying to upgrade it? It sometimes overheats. See, the cooling vents of this charger are at the bottom, so if you set it down on something, the airflow is restricted. Yeah, it does have these fold out feet, which are easily damaged and you simply forget to use them. So that is a downside of this ToolKit RC M6. It is very small and it does have features that this ISDT charger definitely doesn't have. Also, those features I hardly ever use, so yeah, there's that. Again, in this review I will show and mention this ToolKit RC charger a couple of times, as this should be my replacement for it. So, the ISDT Q6 comes in a cardboard box, which is hardly bigger than the charger itself. It comes with a small little manual. And it comes with some decals, and that's it. You don't get a USB cable or converter cables. Apart from that, you're on your own with this ISDT charger, which is absolutely fine. You don't really need anything else. Okay, a quick tour of the Q6 Nano charger. At the front we've got a rather small screen actually. You should keep that in mind. The screen is, for instance, a lot smaller than on the Q8 charger. I'll mention the Q8 charger in a minute as well and compare it to this one. But again, this screen is pretty small. It's usable, pretty small though. And it has this single button, which is actually a three-way button. You can press the bottom, you can press the top and the middle. Yeah, okay, I'll show you what that does in a second as well. At the front, we got air vents. This is actually the air intake for cooling of your charger. On the left side of our charger we've got a power in, which is an XT60 connector, 10 to 30 volts direct current, and we've got a USB connector, which is for firmware updates of the charger. At the front of the charger we've got the air out and a fan for cooling, obviously. On the right side of the charger we've got the balance port, which runs up to 6S. Q6 charger 6S, whereas again the Q8 runs up to 8S, and the power out, which is an it looks like an XT60. It's actually a smart port, so it doesn't only have these two, the plus and the minus or the ground, but it has a third middle connector for data transfer. So if you run smart lipos, and I personally have never seen a BetGo battery Lipo. Those have an ID chip in them. If you hook those up, the charger will instantly know how to charge that Lipo. Maybe I'll get me some to demonstrate that, but again, I've never seen those in the flesh myself. And at the bottom of the charger, we don't have an air vent, where, again, the ToolKit RC has its air vent at the bottom. Only a couple of rubber feet and a cheat sheet with some data on the Q6 charger. So, the Q6 Nano, why did I get me this one over the Q8? Well, the Q8 is a little bigger. Well, a little bigger. It's a centimeter almost bigger in all dimensions. Well, at least in the width and height. So it's a little bigger, and this is my field charger, right? It will always live in my backpack. Also, the Q8 is almost twice as expensive, or less cheap. It costs almost twice as much. So where this one, if I'd damaged this one in my backpack or on the road, yeah, it wouldn't be nice, obviously, but maybe actually that smaller screen is less prone to damage as well. But from these pictures, you can definitely see that the Q8 has a significantly bigger screen. So that's definitely a consideration, and maybe I'll get me the Q8 as well to, well, compare them side by side. I will have links to both the Q6 Nano that I have here and the Q8 in the description of this video, so you can compare them as well. Then, here is my previous on-the-road charger, and as you can tell, the width is mostly the same, right? Well, almost identical actually. Height, yeah, this Q6 is a little bit bigger, not offensively bigger, and thickness is, well, more or less the same. There's not much between the thickness of these two chargers, so I could definitely live with this Q6 having it in my backpack. By the way, the biggest difference between these two chargers, the ToolKit RC and the ISDT, is their build quality. Whenever I use this ToolKit RC charger, I was afraid of damaging it or breaking it. If you, well, only press it slightly in, it squeezes, and yeah, it's not confidence inspiring. Don't get me wrong, I was happy to have this charger and it always worked. However, this ISDT charger's build quality is, well, you can't even compare the two chargers in build quality. This is well built and this is really well built to a budget, even though these two chargers cost approximately the same. So again, far higher build quality. So let's see what the Q6 Nano actually can do. And here is a Lipo I typically have with me to charge smaller Lipos. It is a 4 Wh 4S Lipo with an XT60 obviously. So from this bigger Lipo I can charge a lot of small Lipos, for instance for 3-inch micro quadcopters. And there's no on-off button to the charger. You simply hook up the XT60 and there you go. And again, there's only one button. Well, it's a 3-way button to operate the charger. And if you have this charger, you will have found that middle pressing the button can be hard. You simply have to commit to single pressing the middle button. So give it a good tap, not baby it. Click. That's a single press there. And there's a short press to that center button and a long press. Let me show you the long press as well. Okay, long press. You get into the settings of your charger. Let me zoom into that. Now you will definitely see me fumble around with the button a little bit in this video, and that's partly because, well, the camera is now in the way of the charger. I can hardly see the screen actually, but the center, this button setup also takes a little bit of practice, and the charger is pretty new to me. So, however, we are in the system settings, and the first setting is the minimal input voltage. So if you have what I have here, a 4S Lipo, you will want to set that to, for instance, 14 volts, and the charger will then cut off when it sees that the input voltage drops below that. If you run a 6S Lipo as your input Lipo, you will want to set that to approximately 21, I'd say. 21 volts, oops. You can also limit the maximum input power, so that'll depend on your power source, right? What amount of power your input can handle. And you'll have to calculate that from the Lipo you have. How much power can your Lipo provide, and you'll have to set that over here. Backlight, I hope you'll be able to see the screen actually. I've tested this screen outdoors and it's pretty much readable in direct sunlight. So this charger is definitely usable outdoors. Better actually than this one. And you can change the beep volume, the feedback beep of the button basically. Then you've got a completion tone. So if the charger is ready charging your Lipos, for instance, you can have it single beep. So that way it'll, well, when it's done charging, it'll let you know once. If you want to have that repeat, and that's the default setting, you want to set that to repeat, and I will. Language, okay, you got a couple of languages. Let's see what languages. You've got English, 3 types of Chinese, Deutsch, German, French, Spanish, and that's it. No Italian? That's weird. And no Dutch. Oh. Okay, we got a self-test. Let's see what that does. Somehow this actually doesn't work if you have an output Lipo connected. Okay, and apparently it passed all tests, which is nice. Then we've got a calibration setup. Now, I don't really have a way of accurately measuring a voltage of a Lipo. So calibrating a charger is always kind of hard. You'll have to have a very accurate voltage meter device at your disposal. Okay, Bedco, what is that? Nothing. Doesn't do anything. I assume that the Bedco option will give you information about the Bedco Lipo you have hooked up. So I can't demonstrate that. And system info will tell you a hardware version, a firmware version, and a serial number of your charger. So what can the charger actually do? A short press on this multi-button will get you into the charge menu, and the tasks it can do is charge, discharge, storage, DC power. So in that mode you can, for instance, power an ESC if you want to test an ESC, for instance, or power another device from the charger, or destroy your Lipo. And destroy will basically trickle discharge your Lipo to 0 volts. Now I don't recommend doing that, as it will take ages. Yeah, it's much better to throw your Lipo into a bucket of water with some salt in it to destroy a Lipo. But yeah, okay, so there's that option. Note that, for instance, you don't have the option to check your Lipo. To see the internal resistance of your Lipo, for instance. So this is very much a charger only. It's not a problem for me, as this is not my main charger. I'll use it in the field, but keep that in mind. If you are considering this Lipo charger as your main charger, you can't check the health of your Lipos with this device, with this charger. So maybe it'll be good to look at a step up, for instance the Q8, if you also want to, well, check the Lipos. Okay, chemistry, and that'll be the usual suspects, I assume. Lithium high voltage Lipo, lithium ion, LiFeS, lead, and nickel metal hydride, and that's it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, yeah, indeed, the usual suspects, all we really need these days. Then condition, well, basically you set the maximum voltage you want to charge your Lipo to. Default is 4.2 volts, and I recommend leaving it at that. Cells will be set automatically, and current, well, basically that's the speed at which you will be charging your Lipo, and it depends on your Lipo, of course. And you got the start button. So let's actually go ahead and charge something. Immediately after you've hooked up the balance leads of your Lipo, the charger will show you the individual cell voltages, which is great, and also the total voltage of your Lipo. So, as you can see, I actually do have a 6S Lipo hooked up to the charger. And again, my input Lipo is a 4S, so that's the question I always get about chargers. Can you step up the voltage, which is basically what the charger now does? And okay, so well, let's check that. So we've got, well, 6S, the charger again sees the output voltage or the number of cells automatically. I will set it to 1 amp, yeah, why don't I? And I'll start the process, there we go. And as you can tell, there is no problem at all. The charger doesn't complain about this conundrum at all. It's now charging my 6S Lipo at 1 amp from a 4S Lipo. And okay, again, if I single tap the button, I can stop the charge, and I will because I want to change something. Oh, actually, right from this menu I can change the current, which is what I want to do. So this is actually a nice option. So I want to step that up to 2 amps. There we go. And oh, that was fast. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it really stepped up the amperage from 1 amp to 2 amps pretty quickly. Huh, okay. But again, no problem at all. Our charger is now charging a 6S Lipo from a 4S Lipo. So guys, that was a quick look at the new ISDT Q6 Nano charger, and with that my new on-the-road charger. One thing of note, as you can see, I've left the screen protector film on the charger. Again, this is my field charger. I'll be throwing it in my bag, so I don't want to scratch up the screen too much. So most ISDT chargers come with a screen protector, right? I'm not sure what kind of screen protectors those are. Gorilla Glass probably. I've had a couple and those indeed came with Gorilla Glass. This charger does not come with a screen protector at all, which was a bit of a, well, disappointment to be honest. Especially because this will make an excellent field charger in my humble opinion. So a screen protector, ISDT, yeah, I know that this charger comes in at a very reasonable price. And not having a screen protector, well, plays into that, I guess. Maybe they'll have an optional extra screen protector for it. I will definitely get one. If I run into those, I will add them to the description of this video, a link to that screen protector. For now, I want to thank you for watching. If you are left with questions, hit me up a comment down below. Catch you on the next video. Bye bye.